You know that dreaded moment in a new conversation, right? The pleasantries fade out, a brief silence falls, and then the other person turns to you and says, well, tell me about yourself.
Oh, it is the ultimate deer-in-the-headlights social phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we exist with ourselves 24 hours a day, so we just assume we know our own story.
Right, exactly.
But the second we are asked to summarize that story for a stranger,
Mm.
it stops feeling like a conversation and starts feeling, like an interrogation.
It really does. And if that experience is terrifying in your native language, just imagine trying to do it in a second language. I mean, the cognitive load is staggering.
Oh, absolutely.
But that is exactly what we are going to conquer today. Welcome to our friendly English class. I'm Jane.
And I'm Eric. We are your English teachers for today's session. And we're going to bypass the usual grammar drills today.
Yes, thankfully.
Yeah, instead we're going to look at an incredibly effective, meticulously designed personal introduction script for English learners, and we're combining it with some fascinating insights from linguistic psychology.
It's going to be so useful because our mission today is to help you move past those stiff textbook greetings. You know the ones, hello, my name is so-and-so, I am from this place, my hobby is reading.
Right, which isn't really an introduction, that's more like a police report.
Exactly. We want to show you the hidden mechanics of how native speakers actually put their ideas together so you can adapt those blueprints for your own life and, well, speak smoothly.
Yeah, because the overarching problem with most introductions is that people treat them like a verbal resume. And a resume is rigid. It's a chronological data dump designed to prove your utility.
Nobody wants to listen to a data dump at a party.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A genuinely compelling personal introduction shouldn't feel like a resume at all. It should feel like you are offering the other person a comfortable chair.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, you're giving them ergonomic conversational cushions so they can relax, settle in, and actually want to talk to you.
So let's figure out how to build that comfortable chair. Every chair needs a solid foundation, right? Before you can get into your nuanced opinions or your weekend hobbies, you have to establish the absolute basics. You need to give the listener a geographic and personal anchor.
Right. And the script handles this opening elegantly. It suggests starting with, hi, I'm, your name. It's great to meet you. So a little about me. I'm originally from this city or country, but right now I'm living in my current place.
I want to look closely at that phrase, so a little about me. It sounds like a throwaway transition, but it actually manages expectations really well.
Yeah, how so?
Well, it subtly tells the listener's brain, don't worry, I am not about to trap you in a 40-minute monologue. I am just giving you a curated sample.
Oh, that's such a good point.
Right. And then splitting up where you are originally from and where you're living right now is just such a smart conversational hook.
It creates immediate surface area for connection.
Yeah.
By offering two distinct geographic locations instead of just one, you basically double the chances that the listener has a point of reference.
Yeah, maybe they have a cousin in your hometown.
Exactly. Or maybe they just went on vacation to your current city. You were giving them multiple on-ramps to join the dialogue.
So once those geographic coordinates are set, the script moves into the background. And the phrasing here is highly specific. It goes, I grew up in a pretty typical household, nothing too crazy, just a normal family with siblings or parents.
Yeah.
When I first read that, I wondered, well, why would anyone highlight how normal they are? Why not jump straight to the unique, exciting stuff?
It actually comes down to evolutionary psychology.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, when humans meet strangers, our brains are subconsciously scanning for threat or safety. We need to establish in-group safety before we can appreciate someone's eccentricities.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right. So if you immediately lead with a wildly chaotic fact about your upbringing, the listener's amygdala categorizes you as unpredictable.
Yeah.
But by stating you had a pretty typical household, you establish a baseline of normalcy. You signal, hey, I am a safe, relatable person.
You lower the temperature in the room, and once you've established that safe baseline, then you introduce the flavor. The script follows up with, growing up, I was always the curious type, always asking questions and trying new things.
Yeah, you provide the ordinary background, and then you drop in the spark that makes you you.
Exactly. And notice the transition phrase used to connect that childhood spark to the present day. It's looking back. I guess that's what led me to where I am today.
That phrase, looking back, is really interesting.
It is. It caught my attention because it feels entirely different than just saying, in the past. Why is that? I mean, why use a phrase like looking back instead of just saying in the past?
Well, when you say in the past, it feels like you're pointing to a sterile point on a timeline. It's very detached. But looking back feels like mental time travel. It's like a camera panning across your life's history.
Oh, I like that. A camera panning.
Yeah, it introduces an element of active reflection. It demonstrates emotional intelligence by showing the listener that you don't just possess a history, but you have synthesized it.
Right, you've actually thought about it.
Exactly. You've thought about how the curious kid you used to be
Yeah.
connects to the adult standing in front of them right now. It weaves the data into a cohesive narrative.
So the foundation is poured, you've established the safe, relatable past. The organic next step is to bring them into the present, right? Usually by explaining what you do for a living or what you were studying.
Right, but transitioning from past to present has to feel earned. Here is the script's suggested approach. It says, right now I'm working as a, whatever, or studying. Honestly, it's been quite a journey. I started out not really knowing what I wanted to do, but over time, I figured it out.
Reading that, the vulnerability immediately jumps out at me. Admitting, hey, I started out not really knowing what I wanted to do is the exact opposite of the corporate resume mindset.
It really is. Most people try to project this impenetrable aura of having everything figured out since kindergarten.
And that projection usually backfires because it feels deeply inauthentic. I mean, almost nobody have a perfectly linear career path.
Exactly. By using the phrase, it's been quite a journey, you are leaning into authenticity. You signal to the listener that they don't need to perform for you because you aren't performing for them. You are a real human being who has experienced uncertainty.
It makes the listener exhale. They can just relax. Then the script moves into the specifics of the daily grind, and it uses a fascinating setup. It says, if you ask me, the best part of my job is, and then followed by a specific detail like getting to solve problems every day or meeting new people constantly.
We should definitely analyze that lead-in, if you ask
Yeah,
me.
let's reverse engineer it. What happens if you remove that phrase? Like, what if you just say, the best part of this job is solving problems?
It sounds a bit rigid, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Like you are declaring an objective fact about the universe, which leaves no room for debate.
Right, but when I add, if you ask me, I feel like I am holding up a friendly little warning sign that says, personal opinion ahead.
That's a great way to put it. Linguists actually refer to phrases like that as mitigating devices or conversational cushions. When you soften a rigid statement into a subjective experience, it invites collaboration rather than combat.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, it leaves space for the other person to think, well, if you ask me, the best part of your job sounds exhausting. It keeps the interaction fluid and dynamic.
And the specific detail is crucial too. Saying, I am a logistics coordinator might kill the conversation if the other person knows absolutely nothing about logistics.
Very true.
But saying, if you ask me, the best part of my job is untangling massive, complex puzzles works beautifully because everyone understands the human satisfaction of solving a puzzle.
You are translating your specific job title into a universal human emotion.
So, okay, you've established trust by admitting your career is a journey, and you've shared your subjective experience of your workday, but a job title isn't a personality. To really make someone comfortable, you have to show them who you are off the clock.
Right. This is where we bring color into the introduction.
Exactly. Which brings us to hobbies and personality traits. The script's approach to free time is highly strategic. It says, when I'm not working, you'll probably find me hiking, cooking, or binge-watching shows. I've been into it for a few years now, and honestly, it's become a huge part of who I am.
Including binge-watching shows is brilliant because it's refreshingly mundane. There is often this pressure in introductions to pretend you spend your weekends training for ultramarathons or reading classical poetry.
Oh, I know. It's exhausting just listening to it.
Right, so admitting you just sit on the couch and watch television is deeply humanizing.
It is. And then the script immediately pairs that primary, deeply ingrained hobby with something quite different. It adds, I also love this second hobby, though I'm still pretty new to it, so I'm not great yet.
I love the addition of, I'm not great yet. It utilizes a psychological phenomenon known as the pratfall effect.
The pratfall effect.
Yeah, it's the idea that admitting a minor flaw or a lack of expertise actually makes you more likable. It shows a growth mindset.
Okay.
You are essentially telling the person, hey, I am open to looking foolish in order to learn something new.
Oh, I like that. And that disarming humility carries over seamlessly into how this script handles personality descriptions. It suggests describing yourself as fairly easygoing.
Right. The wording is, I don't stress out too much, and I try to see the funny side of things. That said, when it comes to things I care about, I can be pretty determined. Once I set a goal, I usually stick with it.
Okay, wait. I am going to push back on one phrase in there because I see English learners struggle with it all the time.
Sure, what is it?
The phrase, that said, isn't that said just a pretentious, overly complicated way of saying the word but? Like, why wouldn't I just say, I am easygoing, but I am determined?
It does sound like a fancy but, doesn't it? But syntactically, they perform two completely different functions.
Really? How so?
Well, the word but or but often acts as a cognitive eraser. If I tell you, I love this restaurant, but the service is terrible, your brain basically deletes the first half of the sentence. We am not going back to that restaurant. The negative information cancels out the positive.
Oh, I see. The word but creates a collision one side has to lose.
Precisely. That said, however, prevents that cognitive erasure. It allows you to hold two contrasting truths in perfect balance. When you say, I'm easygoing, that said, I can be pretty determined, you are telling the listener that both traits are 100% true.
Right. They both exist.
Yeah, you love the restaurant, you accept the terrible service, and you are absolutely going back. It introduces a contrast without creating a contradiction.
Wow, that makes so much sense. It paints a picture of a three-dimensional personality. You are capable of being relaxed while simultaneously being intensely focused when the situation requires it. Keeping both of those files open in the listener's mind elevates your fluency instantly.
So you've walked through the timeline. You have the relatable past, the vulnerable present, the vibrant personality. Now you have to glance at the future and, most importantly, execute a graceful exit.
The exit is where most introductions crash and burn. People share all their facts, run out of breath, and then just stare at the other person in awkward silence.
It's the worst.
It really is. So let's look at the future first. The script says, looking ahead, my main goal right now is to improve my English, to travel more, or to start my own business.
Notice how it mirrors the earlier structure perfectly. We began the background section with looking back, and now we pivot to the future with looking ahead. It provides psychological symmetry.
Oh, that's clever. And it grounds that goal in reality by adding, it's not going to be easy, but I couldn't agree more with the saying that good things take time.
It shows maturity. You aren't just an idle dreamer. You understand the friction required to achieve something.
Exactly. And then the script deploys the absolute magic trick for getting out of the spotlight. It says, anyway, that's a bit about me. I'd love to hear about you too. What have you been up to lately?
The heavy lifter in that sentence is the word anyway.
It really is. If we look at the mechanics of the word anyway in conversational English, it acts as a structural hard reset.
Like a palate cleanser.
Yes, a conversational palate cleanser. You've been downloading your data for a minute or two, and anyway signals a definitive break in the syntax. It tells the listener's brain, all right, the previous file is now closing, we are shifting gears.
I love how it yields the floor without making it a big deal. You reset the structure, and then immediately hand them the microphone with a direct, open-ended question, what have you been up to lately?
I think of it like gracefully passing a conversational ball to the other person. It completely eliminates the awkward silence. You've built the comfortable chair, you've invited them to sit, and now you are asking them to get comfortable and share.
So we now have a comprehensive, psychologically grounded roadmap. You've got the relatable background, the vulnerable present, the mitigating cushions, the three-dimensional personality traits, and the structural hard reset.
Yes, all of it.
But understanding the theory of these transition phrases looking back, if you ask me, that said looking ahead, and anyway, is really only half the battle.
Right. Knowing the psychological theory is great, but executing it smoothly in a high-pressure, real-world conversation is the ultimate hurdle. Which brings us to the masterclass portion of today's lesson, which is the practice.
Yes, the practice.
Our source material provides a highly specific protocol for this. It dictates that learners must write out this script with their own details and then speak it out loud repeatedly. The goal is to make the phrases automatic, so you bypass mental translation entirely.
Let's dive into why mental translation is so devastating to fluency. When an English learner is asked a question, there is often a massive internal lag.
Oh, yeah, the pause.
Right? Their brain hears the English, frantically searches an internal dictionary to translate it to their native language, formulates a response in their native language, translates that response back to English, and only then do they open their mouth.
It's exhausting. And it results in those long, agonizing pauses that ruin the natural rhythm of a conversation. So how does swapping your own details and speaking out loud actually short-circuit that translation loop?
It comes down to neurobiology. When you read English silently, or when you write it, You are primarily utilizing the analytical parts of your brain. You are processing data.
Right.
But speaking is a complex physical action. It relies heavily on the motor cortex. It requires the precise coordination of your diaphragm, your vocal cords, tongue, and jaw.
So it's procedural memory, like learning to ride a bicycle or play a complex chord on a piano. You don't read a book about riding a bike. You have to physically get on it and let your muscles figure out the balance.
Yes, exactly. When you stand in your room and say the phrase, if you ask me, the best part of my job is, over and over again, out loud, you are literally myelinating the neural pathways connected to your vocal tract. You are building physical muscle memory.
That makes total sense.
After 50 repetitions, your brain no longer needs to access your native language to construct that sequence of sounds. The physical memory takes over, and it becomes an automatic reflex.
That reframes the entire concept of fluency. Fluency isn't just about memorizing vocabulary lists, it's an athletic endeavor. It's about physically training your body to produce the sounds effortlessly.
Which is exactly why you cannot just practice with the blank template. You have to insert your actual life, your city, your job, your embarrassing hobbies. When you speak your own truth all loud, you emotionally fuse the English syntax to your personal identity.
I love that. Let's bring all of this together. A truly great personal introduction is not a rigid recitation of your resume. It is a carefully engineered invitation to connect.
It requires establishing a relatable baseline, showing vulnerability, softening your opinions with conversational cushions, and, as we said, gracefully yielding the floor.
And the structural joints holding that invitation together are your transition phrases. They are what allow you to navigate from your past to your present without sounding like a robot.
So here's your assignment for today's class. We want you to draft your own version of this script. Fill in every blank with your authentic details, then close your door, stand up, and read it out loud.
And don't whisper it. Speak it at full conversation volume. Keep doing it until phrases like looking back and that said flow out of your mouth automatically, driven by muscle memory rather than mental translation.
Yeah, as that muscle memory solidifies, the cortisol spikes and the freezing response will just start to fade. You will find yourself anchored by a quiet, grounded confidence.
Which leaves us with one final fascinating thought to ponder. We've spent this time breaking down how to use English to express who you already are, but language and identity are deeply intertwined.
They really are.
When you learn to introduce yourself in a new language, utilizing these assertive, native-sounding phrases, holding your traits in balance, and gracefully controlling a room, does it actually offer you an opportunity to reinvent yourself?
Oh, wow.
Consider whether your English personality might just be a bolder, more confident evolution of who you are. Maybe learning a second language isn't just about translating your past. Maybe it's about engineering a more fearless version of your future. Think about that the next time you offer a stranger a comfortable conversational chair. Thanks for joining our class today.